Welcome to Stargate SG-1 for the first time, still not a Star Trek podcast. My name is Jeff Aiken, and I'm watching Stargate SG-1 for the first time.
And I'm Brent Allen, and I'm watching Stargate SG-1 for the 47th time. Jeff and I are two veteran Star Trek podcasters, which is why we've already thrown a Star Trek reference into this show. A while ago, we joined forces to bring you Babylon 5 for the first time, and now we are doing it again with a show that so many of you out there said that you wanted us to cover, and here we are.
So now we're giving SG-1 the for the first time treatment. What that means is that I'm going to be watching this, me, for the very first time. You get to join me and maybe experience some of those first time memories that you had oh so many years ago.
And while I can't watch this for the very first time because I've seen this show a lot, I am going to be doing something for the first time watching it on this particular watch through, which is looking for those sci-fi messages that we love so much in the for the first time world here. You know, those messages that hold up a mirror to society, give us hope that things can be better in the future, or just tell us how to be better human beings to each other. And I got to tell you, Jeff, I really didn't think the show would be chock full of them, but oh my, so far they really have been.
We got some really good stuff so far.
Yeah.
But even through that stuff, emphasis on the sci-fi messages, because this, Brent, is still not a Star Trek podcast. So here on the For the First Time properties, we enjoy playing games. And one of our favorites is the Rule of Three. The Rule of Three is a game that limits us to no more than 3 references to Star Trek per episode.
That's it. 3. 1, 2, 3. No substitutions, exchanges, a refund.
And every time we make one of those references, you're going to hear this.
But, you know, Jeff, we are now Babylon 5 podcasters, or at least we're burgeoning Babylon 5 podcasters, which means that kind of stuff is on the tip of our tongues. So it's also quite likely we're going to catch some Babylon 5 references. And when we do that, you're going to hear...
Oh, yes.
Brent, we are about to get into the 12th episode, our 11th episode of Stargate SG-1, Bloodlines.
Mm-hmm.
We came off a banger from last week, an incredible episode. This one's got a high bar, big shoes to fill. Why don't you tell us about this one?
Well, this episode is the 12th episode titled Bloodlines, original air date October 7th, 1997. Today's episode is going to feature the first appearance of several characters, Jeff, that we're going to come to know and love over the course of the show. You'll meet them in due time. So with that, Jeff, why don't we just jump into this episode? There's really nothing extra to talk about. Hey, if you folks out there are just joining us for the first time, Jeff and I are going to watch this episode right now. If you're watching us on YouTube, you're going to get the reaction video. If you're watching us on Patreon, you're going to get the full unedited reaction video, which is pretty dope.
And if you're listening to us on one of those great audio podcast apps like Good Pods or Apple Podcasts or anything like that, you're about to hear a big whoosh or some other noise, and then come back and hear our thoughts after the episode. That's where I'm going to share my first time experience, and Brent is going to share any of those sci-fi messages that happened to be in this episode. So Brent, let's dive in. Let's do Bloodlines.
Lion. Roar.
I saw stuff on the forehead.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, a bunch of them. And there's one. It's Teal'c. Okay. Oh. This must be a flashback, is my guess. This is going to be them goulding a kid.
But who's the kid?
I bet it's going to be Apophis. Oh, is that Teal'c?
Ryak!
Teal'c!
Ryak!
They had to put Junior back in, Teal'c.
You were calling out something. Ryak. Does that mean anything?
It means nothing.
I don't think that's true. I think for Teal'c, Ryak probably means close to everything. And
Yeah? What do you mean by that?
I'm thinking that's a person, good friend, maybe a lover or something in that flashback. Maybe it's someone who died, or maybe it's someone that betrayed him at a young age.
And it means everything to him.
Means everything. It's his
Fair
biggest
enough.
loss. There's an interesting open there. I feel like we're kind of in media race, right? Like we had to put Junior back in, right? Junior was out, and there's some drug that they used. So,
well, because remember, Teal'c can't survive without Junior being in there, right? He is the immune system now, and they'll die pretty quickly without. So they're trying to figure out how, like, what happens when that ghoul dies or grows up and has to come out, or anything of that nature, right? Hey, let's jump back in. The intro is about done.
here we go.
Well, I guess the boys in Langley won't be able to study a Gould after all.
It is still a possibility.
But you don't have an immune system without your Gould. We can't play with your life like that.
There are many hundreds of Goa'uld larvae on Teal'c.
Teal'c?
You're kidding, right?
It's one of the
Please
few
tell me you're
worlds in our
kidding.
Galaxy with such an abundance.
Yeah, but Teal'c, if you recall last time we were there, we had to shoot our way out, maybe made a bad impression.
It's out of the question. I can't authorize it.
Then I will speak of it no further.
I will shut my mouth.
Dismissed.
Teal'c's meditating,
Something like that.
as you do.
Mind if I...
How's that for leadership right there, Jeff?
I'm
Something's
sorry,
wrong. I'm
Teal'c.
just going to budge in.
It's good. It's what you do. You're the leader. You can do whatever you,
You do
want.
understand why we can't go back to Teal'c.
I am concerned for the life of my son.
Teal'c. You told the... No, you swore to the general you had no ties back there. Why didn't you tell us the truth?
A warrior becomes vulnerable if his family is held hostage to the enemy.
You didn't think we'd trust you if we knew. Teal'c, how the hell are we supposed to trust you now?
Within days, my son will come of age. He will be called to the religious life of our world. He will undergo the ceremony of implantation. I will not allow my son to become a slave.
There you go. What if Ryak wants to? How are you going to get in there and deal
Absolutely
with
not.
that?
With respect, sir, we've considered...
Hammond laying it down.
You have.
Yes, and we are all behind Teal'c, sirs.
Imagine the strategic advantage, sir, if we could undermine the loyalty of the very group the Gould depend on to maintain their power.
How many
build
of
a
these
fifth
other
column.
Jabba can you be sure of?
We're pretty sure of at least
One.
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 Yes, and where there's one, there has to be more than one.
Right? Right?
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe? Oh, absolutely. There you go.
Colonel, will you join me in my office?
Hammond's not buying this. He's like, we got to talk.
They're going to go behind closed doors, and we're going to hear what they're going to say anyway.
Right, yeah.
Hammond's
You
gonna
two
lay
stay
it
here. Cameras,
the door.
O'Neill, over here.
Shut the door.
Mission is not approved. You will go where I tell you to go.
Sir, please.
Dismissed.
Hammond
Paint
knows
him
what's
into
up,
a
man.
corner. Yep, totally.
Hammond knows what's up. Look at him just stare him down.
Yep,
General,
he's like, I hold all the cards here.
Teal'c has a son
What did you say?
back on
Excuse
Teal'c.
me?
His kid's about to be implanted with one of those larva things at a ceremony, and Teal'c wants to stop it.
He's compromised.
General, he was afraid we wouldn't trust him if we knew he had a family back there. Was he right?
Touche.
When Teal'c saved our lives on Teal'c, he gave up.
You know
his
what's great about
secrets.
that? I'm going to stop that right there. What's great about that is Jack was in the room with Teal'c and was like, how the hell can we trust you now? Right?
Mhm.
He had that question. And then when he is face to face with his guy and his guy looks at him and Jack says he was afraid we wouldn't trust him. Was he right? Like he immediately has the back of his
Yep.
guy.
Yeah.
He was in the role of General Hammond just a few moments ago, and now he's speaking up. Like, it's great. Like, on one side he's speaking for General Hammond, the other side he's speaking for Teal'c, to whomever he needs to be that guy for. Like, I just
Well,
I love
from
it.
a leadership standpoint, it really is that concept of, we call it praise in public, punish in private.
Yeah.
But behind closed doors, you can hold people to a level of accountability that you can't in public. In
Yeah.
public, for your team, you got to stand up for them. You got to support them, even when they're wrong, maybe not egregiously wrong. You got to make it okay. And that's exactly what he's doing here.
Yeah.
Here, to Hammond, he's like, dude's our dude. You tell me he's not, prove it. Let's do this.
Yeah.
But behind closed doors, he's basically saying to Teal'c, look, I'm here to go to bat for you. You need to let me know that I'm good going
Yeah.
to bat for you. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Really well done.
But I mean, there is still this thing. I think it's real easy to forget. They're 6 months into this endeavor with Teal'c, but he go back the other way. Like, every time he walks through that corridor, they've got to know they're taking a risk with this guy.
Handing him one of those big shooter staffs and just being like,
And
hey,
just
you stay in the
they're
front.
trusting him with some of the secrets of the base and secrets of their world, and but
Big risk, huge reward.
This is how trust is developed, though, right? Is through conflict like this. So anyway,
Yeah.
let's get back into it.
Teal'c, what are you doing?
Stand back from the keyboard.
You're not helping yourself, bro.
I am returning to Teal'c for my son.
You know far too much about this command, this facility, our defenses. Damn it, Teal'c, that's just what's going to happen if you go through that gate alone.
He wants to protect Teal'c, but he also has to protect all this information. He's going to let SG-1 go.
I'm inclined to authorize a mission to return to Teal'c and allow you to bring your son back.
Ooh. Not just go stop the process, bring him back.
Bring him back.
Yeah. You know, one thing that I love that has never changed in 30 years, Jeff?
So,
QWERTY keyboards.
Thank you, Jeff.
yeah.
I knew exactly what button he just pressed.
His keyboards work, you know, it's not broke.
Godspeed, Colonel.
Godspeed takes on a new meaning when you're talking about gold. That's just the speed they walk at. Oh, it's been a while
I was
since we've
going to
done
be like,
this. Right?
dude, that would be a hell of a ride at a theater.
Yeah. Let's make that happen. Random rocks, big, huge circle.
I got to be honest, I don't understand this move here. Why ditch the costumes right now?
Yeah, stay in your
Ceremony
gear.
should take place there.
You don't know what's happening.
Well, now, there you go. Wouldn't it be great if you were still wearing your robes? Maybe they wouldn't be so upset.
Your family is Krishna. Outcasts. The Krishna live in a handful of camps outside the city.
It's funny, I still have yet to
Not
ever
leave
see a
Teal'c
city
without seeing my
in
son.
Teal'c.
Everything's outside the city. So if Ryak and his wife are outcasts, most likely he hasn't been training to be Jaffa. Like, they're just out.
If we are discovered,
I'm guessing. So now it's going to become a rescue mission instead of a
Well,
interlocution.
Cross that bridge when we come to it.
No,
I've literally never thought about that
bridge
before.
is too well guarded. We go south. Those camps nearest the city. I believe your wife would go there.
I agree.
There you go.
Jack's just left standing there.
That's good.
So I wanted to cross the bridge when we got to it.
Right?
If I was Teal'c, I'd be asking this dude, how do you know what my wife would be thinking? What's been going on? Let's do this.
So just, did you clarify? He said Braytak was his first Jaffa master.
Teacher. Yeah.
This is teacher, yeah.
We will follow. Teal'c and I will lead.
Priest, stand aside.
Okay, so that's his kid, and they were getting ready to do the thing. His kid on the table. One's got a... Ooh. That's going to be his wife. Pretty dead set on our kid getting gold
And this would
inserted.
be
My wife, Addryc.
Drayok.
Ryak, Teal'c, Drayok, Braytak. They're like these ox at the end of their names. Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah. Whoops.
Talk about falling on your sword.
Right. Pop is honest. I don't know what happened. He just fell and landed on his sword. Crushed
see
the
that?
gold.
Did you see that?
They brought the
Cut him up,
and the
right?
tent for the Preemto all the way to camp. Why have you returned?
My son will not be a slave, Addryc.
They were about to lift the banishment so that we could return to the city.
So you want this more for yourself than for our son?
Yeah.
He deserved that. I ain't gonna lie. He deserved that.
No, he believes you are dead.
Dead.
It is easier than the truth.
What have you told him, woman?
I'm just saying, they must have a lot of fun at night.
My father left his son for people he does not know, who are not his
This is how they
blood.
start fighting. The way they make up has got to be pretty epic.
Husband.
I mean, it's an interesting piece here, right, Jeff? Like, Teal'c's gone. For right or wrong, he's gone. She is left to raise her son as an outcast, living in a hovel. They can't get resources, can't get food. She had to beg them to steal a Gould
Yeah.
to bring over here to do this.
So they can do the Preemta.
Yeah, it's not like they can just go get another one down at the local supermarket. Like,
Right. Then they're shunned by the outcasts.
yeah.
You know, it really is, you know, you know, I've talked about situations like this just in our conversations outside of this, but like there's that thing where Teal'c is off in this other world, right? And he's kind of living his belief. He's experiencing new things. He's really, I mean, he's going through rough stuff, but he's enjoying things. In the meantime, she's back home with the kid, having to kind of keep day to day going on. And for her to just survive.
If I can add on to that,
Yeah.
She's got to deal with him asking where daddy is. And
Yeah.
why are we being shunned? What's wrong with dad? My dad, that's my dad. Like, what's wrong? Where is this? And
Yeah, so for her saying dad's dead, like she's going out of her way to protect his honor, in the family way, And, But I think like she has no choice but to be a true believer just to survive.
even if she's not really a true believer, she's got to put that on.
Yeah,
and
she's got to show that.
just trying to survive. Yeah. And I think that's honestly, I think that's more informative of probably, I'm not speaking with future knowledge. I'm just saying from this point right here, the way Brent would interpret this, that is probably more her motivating factor than personal belief. That's Brent. I'm not saying that from anything with future knowledge or anything. So
That symbol up there is the same symbol they got on their forehead.
but it's upside down. It's upside down.
Is it really?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
They couldn't be. It's just a production mistake. That's all it is.
Oh, I still caught what it was, so it's not that bad.
Yep.
It's that Gould water, Gould tea.
Well, I think it's like they're scooping out the goldfish and
Yeah.
putting the eels in there. See, look, there's the
There it
Sholva.
is
It's the
again.
Sholva
Yeah.
staff, right?
Dude, I might get that
apparently
as a
not
tattoo.
all the outcasts are Sholva.
Well, they're considered that way. Maybe the same status.
Yeah.
Well, there's 6 months of therapy.
It always cracks me up in shows like this. It's always father and mother.
Yeah.
There's never dad. Like,
Knew he was not dead.
I don't think I ever called my dad father.
How long has the sickness been in him?
you imagine a society that has the Gould have no need for medicine.
Yeah, because it's just keeping everything
How's it
going.
doing, Teal'c? No doctor. I know scarlet fever when I see it.
Get a jar. There you go. Dump out your coffee.
They're doing this to try to get the thing to go back home, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
They want a live Gould.
We can do this.
I'm ready.
Apparently, the stuff Jack gave him didn't
Carter
do
and Daniel should
anything.
be here.
Yeah, the Motrin never does. It's all they prescribe you, though. Doc, my leg hurts. Motrin. Doc, I cut my
He
finger
no
off.
longer
Motrin.
draws breath, Teal'c.
Don't got a lot more we can do. He can take my Gould.
No, no.
Teal'c's gonna sacrifice himself. Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
He's not even he's just like, this is what I gotta do.
Yep.
That's dad right
Well,
there.
I mean, his only hesitation is if I do this, this is literally what I came to prevent to have happen.
Right?
I'm sorry,
Like,
son.
To save you, I have to make you Jaffa.
You think these things seem to be fed?
Don't worry. There's some stormtroopers over the hill. You're fine.
They're just gonna hit the
Probably.
trees.
You better get moving, sir.
We've got a
The
little
Gould
problem.
they stole are gonna slap into Teal'c.
Teal'c's kid was too sick to make it to the Stargate, so we gave him his own Gould to keep him alive.
We have one.
We found what looks like a monastery.
You dare steal from the sepulcher of the temple?
It is sacrilege.
Well, so what?
Yeah, it did.
So you
Also
gonna help
blew
him?
it up.
I like how they're all like, they're false gods, they're false gods.
Not
That's
yet ready
it.
for implantation.
Yeah, you
We
can't
will
do
try.
that. Wrong, you will burn. I've had a couple episodes in a row where like they get a thing and then to save people they gotta give up the thing. And multiple times it's been Teal'c that they're saving by giving up the thing.
Have they?
Notable. Yeah, because it was Teal'c, Thor's hammer. And then Teal'c here.
We will be all right, Teal'c. Go.
My
How are you
son
going to
is
explain the
fortunate enough
Gould? You took out
This
the
is where
priest.
I will never
This is where I
rejoice
just,
over his
like,
people if he does not
I know from a storytelling standpoint,
go now.
they can't take them back
Mhm.
because then you'd have to add them to the cast.
Right?
You
Yeah.
have that whole situation going on. But
Teal'c, we gotta move.
take them back.
Yeah, practically
They
this
have
makes no sense.
reason to stay. None.
Nothing good is going to happen. I mean, literally, they could take him back and then just like, guest spot 3-4 times a season.
They're just hanging out in the court. I mean, it's Keiko and Molly.
Exactly. It's 2, man. But yeah, it's exactly what it is. Just
Listen,
they're
can't
around
take them with them out of
sometimes.
the episode, man. Got to use them somehow. Oh, now we're gonna get all our costumes to go
Here's
back.
the plan.
Yeah.
You will do as I say.
So much what they did would have been easier if they kept that gear on. Distract them long enough to get past.
Behold, my friend. The traitors. Oh, then we wait.
Kaboom! Oh, wow. Semi-automatic staff. Flamethrower.
He shot the ground to create a fire ring. Why not just shoot them?
Right. I gotta create a fire ring so I can hit you with my staff that could shoot you.
I mean, I guess he's
But
not trying to kill them as much as just disable them. Like,
I look cooler doing this.
yeah.
Why is he holding the helmet?
Well,
doesn't it fold down?
But not all the way, and it's just awkward. Can't really see
I
over
have
the
another
teeth.
young warrior to teach you new worlds and false gods.
So Braytak's going to teach Ryak. That's cool.
Braytak's got a rough road
There
in
you
front
go.
of him.
You know, I got to tell you where these episodes always end. I'm always like, wait, what happens when they get, like, what'd they tell Hammond on the other side?
Right.
Like,
Hey, remember
it
we
feels
went
like there's
there?
some resolution still to be had.
Remember we left to go bring this kid back? Well, funny story.
All right, Jeff. Well, that was it. We have just watched Bloodlines. You for the first time, me for the 48th time now, I guess. But watching for a first time with a new reason. Jeff, talk to us about Bloodlines.
A couple weeks ago, I said that Teal'c is my favorite character so far. This episode just brought me deeper into that. It's a Teal'c episode.
Yeah.
And we got so much. So just kind of working through, we got these weird flashbacks that I think kind of set up some of the lore, I guess, around, you know, when you become Jaffa, what that looks like. We learned later that's a ceremony called the Prim Ta.
Prim Ta, yeah.
Prim Ta that makes that happen. In that initial stuff, we learned that one, there's a group at Langley that wants a Goa'uld that they can study. And to help make that happen, they're trying to develop a drug that'll rebuild Teal'c's immune system up so they can take his Goa'uld out. I felt like that could have used some more exposition a little bit in the episode. Like I had to string some stuff together a little bit, but I'm sure that's some stuff around that'll come up again. But wow. So it's been 6 months since Teal'c took off from Chulak, and they've been here before. A lot has happened in that time. We learned he's got a kid, Raytak, and he's got a wife.
No.
Ryak.
Yeah.
Ryak and Braytak was oh wow. Ryak is his son. Braytak was his first master, his first Jaffa teacher.
Yes. Well, by the way, you, sir, it is Master Braytak.
Master Braytak.
Is
man of 133 years old.
Yes. Give him his respect. That man's been around for a while.
A little bit. He's got a couple years under his belt. And Dryak is his wife.
Yeah.
We didn't know he had a wife or a kid. Now we've met them.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of what we got. We learned that this Primtak's a big deal, that the priests carry the Goa'uld, the little Goa'uld larvas and pieces. They have sepulchers that they keep them in, very sacred stuff. And the families of Shova, the traders, become outcasts. They live in these camps outside the cities in Chulak.
Yep. If I may, on that, I mentioned in the show, it's the first time I've ever noticed the staff of the Shova sitting in the middle of the camp. Like at first I was kind of looking, is this just outside of Dryak's home? Because she mentioned even among the outcasts, they are outcasts still. And it actually just makes me wonder, like, what makes people outcast to go in here? Is it being some sort of a traitor, some sort of a whatever, to where all those people are considered traitors, but to do what Teal'c did? That, like, is it really that much more different? Or is there another reason? Because that staff was right in the middle of the camp. So
we know that the Goa'uld...
I don't know the answer to that, by the way.
I'd say we know that the Goa'uld are gods. They see themselves as gods. They present themselves as gods. People believe that they are gods. And a pretty common theme in most religion when it comes to gods is there's a mechanism where you do wrong by that god and they shun you. They kick you out. They somehow, you're somehow separated, from the rest of the faith community or whatever. And so I got to wonder, like, there's the Teal'c level of Shova, which is like ultimate, he's blaspheming. He's actively fighting against them. He's literally living on another planet. But what are the other levels that you can be Shova? Is it as minor as like taking the Apophyse's name in vain, or something like that? I don't know. And I don't know if we'll ever find out, but it does really beg the question how they get there. And are they all traitors, or what makes you an outcast, I guess, is really kind of one of the big questions out of it. What else was there? Oh, so Ryak,
Mm-hmm.
has scarlet fever.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big deal. We've all but eradicated scarlet fever here on Earth because like we used science and medicine and vaccines, and those eradicate diseases. They're good things. So we did that. But here on Teal'c, like that's a common thing. It seemed like I got the impression that like wasn't weird that he was sick.
Yeah. I love the storytelling device. Like I'm coming here to stop him from having this Prem talk, because just in case you missed it, Jaffa have their own immune system. It just gets obliterated once that Gould comes inside. So if Ryak never has a Gould attached to him, he's just going to go through life with a normal immune system. So the idea that he needed the Gould just to survive, like, yeah, that's something else. I will say this. I could not look at somebody suffering from scarlet fever and be like, I know scarlet fever when I see it.
I know, right?
Like, I didn't know that. Also, I happened to look it up while the episode was going. Do you know what antibiotics we use for scarlet fever?
I don't.
Good old $4 amoxicillin.
Look at that. We use that for everything.
Literally the medicine for all kids everywhere for everything.
Yeah.
Like,
it comes in multiple flavors now. You got grape and cherry and all. It's all gross.
Bubble gum, keep it in the fridge, man, shake it up. You good to go. That actually is like the one antibiotic that I'd be like, you literally could put that in the pocket of every soldier out there.
Yeah.
Like it's that ubiquitous out there. So
here you go. It really set up a lot of really great storytelling pieces in here and pieces of lore. So if we look at what we saw in the open with Teal'c and them trying to develop a drug, a medication to replace his immune system, that's the Earth approach.
Yeah.
Compare that to on Teal'c, where good luck, kid. You know, you got your immune system, but we don't invest in science. We don't invest in medicine or things like that because the people that matter have Goulds in them and they take care of them. And that creates that culture, right? Where the Primta, where becoming Jaffa is super, like not only is it a status, but also it guarantees you good health. And I loved that moment. We talked about it while we were watching the episode, but I loved the moment where Ryak's about to die. And Teal'c doesn't miss a beat. Literally, he's like, you're going to die. I know how to save you. And he's going to take his Gould and put it into Ryak, which one, sacrifices him. Pretty big deal.
Mm-hmm.
But what's amazing about that and the whole like mind mess in it is the thing that Teal'c came here to stop, is the thing he has to do to save him. Wow. One thing I'm really starting to notice in Stargate is they're not afraid to put the characters in like total unwinnable situations.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, I mentioned this while we were watching it. This is, I think, the third episode where someone had a thing that they desperately wanted, needed, whatever, and then had to give it up to save somebody. We had Daniel, who had all this knowledge, right? When, learning about this was last week, I think, with the Torment of Tantalus. I know all this stuff, and I'm learning about the first four and all that.
Yeah.
But if I don't leave and I don't destroy, we're going to lose everything, and we're going to die. I got to give that up. Before that, we got Thor's hammer, where again it was Daniel who was like, "Here's the thing that can save Shah-Ray, that can save Skara, but I got to save Teal'c, so I got to give this thing up.
And we got to find another way."
And now this week again, it's Daniel. I got this Gould. We stole it, and we can give it to the dudes at Langley, and then we'll be good. Oh shoot! Now I got to save Teal'c, and I got to give this thing up. I just think I'm very struck that in a handful of episodes, 3 of them, a substantial percentage, have had that as like the theme at the end. Like,
and Daniel's been the hero in every single one.
Every time, giving the thing up. I think it says a lot, and we talked about it in the Chevron conversation last week, but I think it shows up again here of just like, what good is a thing if you have no one to share it with?
Yeah.
And that's kind of where we were at with Ryak and Teal'c, where what good is Teal'c saving Ryak if we don't save Teal'c when we can? Like, how does this even make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Super great. Really enjoyed this episode. I loved the situations that they put into this thing. But I think the big takeaway in this one moving forward is Teal'c's not alone. There is a developing fifth column among Jaffa. Braytac is one of the key ones, but there is unrest. There is trouble in paradise.
In case you missed it, Braytac is the one who really brought Teal'c over to the Jafar false gods.
Like he planted all those seeds, right? So that when the opportunity
Yeah.
presented itself, he would jump. Like
Yeah.
Braytac, I got the impression this has been a long time for Braytac. Like, but he's well respected. You know, he's got status.
He's
so
had to
having
play this
really keep
game
it-
his whole life. He's been sowing and planting and watering and keeping and tending, but he's not the guy to push it forward. It's somebody else.
It's that concept of progress and moving forward and understanding that each one of us is a step along the way. And Braytac, I don't know if we'll see more of it, but I think for him, taking personal fulfillment in knowing that he's moved the needle.
Yeah.
Like he's not the one that toppled the gods, but he moved the needle. And that's enough for him to, keep him going. Was there someone that planted those seeds in Braytac? It's a lot
I cannot
to think
answer
about.
that question right now.
It's fair enough. So that's it for my first time reaction on this one. Brent, what did you get for sci-fi messages in this one?
This was an interesting episode. There was a really clear, I mean, you could pull this straight out of Gene Roddenberry's script. Like DC Fontana writes this script where Daniel's walking away from the little sepulcher pool pond thing, and he's about to turn around and shoot him, and Sam just looks at him and says, if you kill them when they're this vulnerable, then we are no better than the Goa'uld. And Daniel goes, yeah, you're right. Turns around, takes 3 steps back, and then turns around and shoots the hell out of it. And he's like, whatever. Right? And here's the thing. I do not believe that this is the thrust of the episode. It is so bonk you over the head. You can't miss this particular line, right? But the thing is, I don't know that I agree with it. Is there a possibility for these larvae to grow up into Goa'uld and not be bad?
Okay.
Does good exist within the Goa'uld gene pool as a people group and not be bad?
On that, Teal'c has brought that up before, an episode or two ago. Oh, maybe it's a good Goa'uld.
Maybe it's a good Goa'uld. If they are, then I'm 1,000% with Sam. But if they're not, you know what this almost goes back to? You remember the episode of Borg from Next Generation when they captured a Borg drone, got left behind, and they're like, "What if we make it our pet? What if we make it a good Borg? What if we do good stuff with it?" And they're like, "You can't. It's can't
Borg.
do good stuff. It's Borg. There's just nothing you can do." And they went through. It was a phenomenal episode, but it definitely goes to that idea of, is there hope for any of these larvae to be good? And if not, do you still have the right to kill them when they're like this? But I'm kind of with Daniel on this one. Like, nope. Take them out. Do I have a problem when a wasp is building a nest and I see that wasp nest is full of eggs? Do I have any problem going up there and spraying that wasp thing down? No, I do not. Do I have any problems with this? Honestly, no, I don't. But these guys, these larvae might be a little more sentient than that wasp up there. Maybe, possibly. I don't know. But here we talk about what is the message of the episode. I think this one comes down to a single word that we heard way at the beginning: trust. How do we trust you now? And we see it with Teal'c and Jack. Like, dude, how can I trust you after this? Well, you did this. You didn't tell us about them because you didn't know if you could trust us. And he asked a question, but now how can we trust you? Like, you swore to us that there was no ties. How can we now trust you? And then when we see Jack talking to Hammond echoes that exact same thing. I love that Jack took up Teal'c's banner in that point. Like, yeah, you're right, General. But was he right to not trust us? Do we not trust him? So I'm going to just kind of qualify that as the entire SGC and Teal'c. How can you trust each other after what's just happened? I think there's also a big deal here, a big similarity between Teal'c and Drayak. Teal'c has done this thing which has put Drayak and Ryak in a horrible situation. How can she trust him? What I love about this is, especially when Teal'c is Goa'uldless And he's just laying down, and here's Drax. She has Teal'c's head in her lap. Like, that's her man. That's her spouse. That's her love. And no matter how mad she's been at him, she tried to rip his head off when we first saw her. That's still her guy. You know what I mean? How can that trust still be restored and be there? I think this is another one of those examples where they sort of put it out there, but then they didn't really discuss it. There could have been like a piece of, how do you trust? You got to be vulnerable. You got to bring each other into your confidences. Trust is something that you have to decide to do. Does that make sense? Like, I'm going to trust you regardless of that. I trust your heart. I trust your motives, that you're not against me. And even if that means that you put me in a compromising situation, that doesn't mean that I have to stop trusting you. And you and I were having a conversation not too long ago, almost about this rule of not assigning motives to people.
Right.
I trust your heart. You know, when things happen, well, why did he do that? Why did he say it with that voice? What did he really mean when he did that? Rather than just going, oh, he said this and that's actually what he meant. Just telling people the truth and being there. So I feel like I've kind of wandered around it because I think the show sort of wandered around it and never really nailed it. So I'm gonna rate this on a scale of 0 to 5 chevrons as to how strong the message is. Now I'm just rating the message. I'm not talking about the quality of episode itself. You're going to do that in just a moment, but I'm going to give this one 1.5 chevrons.
I think that's a good rating, really, because I think really looking at the Addryc and Teal'c piece, we talked about this during the episode where she really came across as a true believer when Teal'c first showed up. You know, she was furious. Right. She went out of her way to find a Goa'uld so that, you know, Rya'c could go through the Prim Ta. And we were led to really believe that she hated him,
right?
Despised everything that he left for them. And she was trying with all of her heart to get back in the God's good graces. The episode kind of continued, and there were these little moments, you know, where we learned more, but I felt like there was never the moment where she was like, bro, I've been having to like keep this facade up for a long time. You know, it was literally, like you said, just like from hate to we got to save our kid to, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose you and I've loved you this whole time, you know, and
right.
It works at a narrative pace, you know, like you can track it, but to really pull that message of trust out of it doesn't come. Because I think when I think about establishing trust, I think about risk. In order for me to help you trust me, I have to take a risk. Share a thing, offer a thing, you know, and that risk might just be the risk of rejection. That risk might be really serious where I'm sharing a thing or putting my safety in your hands. But without risk, there can't be trust. And we saw that with Teal'c. There was a risk. If you know about my family, you'll believe I'm compromised and none of this will work. You'll send me back. You'll kill me. You'll experiment on me, something. So for him to open up and show that, and Jack picked this up when he asked, he's like, hey, how can we trust you now? And again, the episode didn't show this,
right?
But we saw the result of it. Teal'c was like, I'm imagining Teal'c was like, hey, I'm telling you now, like, I'm taking the risk, my man. Like, we had spent time together. I have a level of trust. Now I'm going to take a risk and hope that develops more trust. But I think just like in your explanation, I had to piece a lot of that together. It was in the episode, but the episode didn't show it.
So I rated it 1.5 chevrons. You, my friend, get to take this episode and place it in the 100% completely accurate, definitive ranking of season 1 of Stargate SG-1. Jeff, our top 5 for the season. I'm going to go bottom to top this time. I'm going to start with number 5. Our number 5 episode is The Broken Divide. Number 4 is Brief Candle. 3 is Cold Lazarus. 2 is The Nox. And 1 is Torment of Tantalus. There's a few others below that. But Jeff, where do you place Bloodlines? I'm really curious to see about this, because when you do this, I don't want to influence your opinion, but I'll tell you where I place this one as soon as you're done with your ranking.
Okay. I loved this episode. At this point in SG-1, I feel like if you want Jeff to like this, make it a Teal'c-centric episode. I love learning about his history. I love having him on screen. I love the character. I like the depth that they're giving him and his story. Very interesting stuff. This added to it also really getting more of an insight into the Gould and understanding that a little bit more. Plus, it was good TV. Like, it was a good episode that had action. It had humor. It had messages. Like, it had all the pieces, and it was a really good time. Is it Torment of Tantalus good? No, it is not.
Right.
It's also not First Commandment or Emancipation bad. So,
right.
And so I'm really landing in this 5-6 area, Broca Divide, Children of the Gods for me. And I feel bad that, like, I feel bad putting things on top of Children of the Gods because, and we talked about this before, probably the greatest series opener to date, you know, for television out there to date when this came out, right? Like, so good. But then I think about the Broca Divide, which is a good episode that offered up a lot of really big stuff. I mean, just thinking about the Touched and all that stuff. But my ultimate test on this is what episode did I enjoy, or what episode made me feel, and I would watch it again. In between Broca Divide and Children of the Gods, Bloodlines wins, and it's going to be our new number 5.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, that is 100% accurate, immutable, definitive.
It is. But I'm also curious where in the other not so definitive list you
I got to be honest. This is an episode that I'm okay to watch. I'm also okay to skip.
Huh.
It's not one of my favorite episodes. This, to me, if I were to place it in this ranking, this is like a 7 or 8 episode. All right.
I can see this episode too being kind of similar to Thor's Hammer, where there are things planted here that then develop in bigger, richer ways down the road. Like, we met this introduced us to characters and some concepts of the culture is really what this accomplished.
I mean,
so
you met Braytak, you met Dryak, you met Ryak. I have no problems telling you, you will see all 3 of those characters again.
Cool.
This show is clearly episodic, right? But what happens in one episode has the potential, I'm not saying it always does, but it has the potential to impact all future episodes going forward.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's
episodic consequences.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. I like it. All right, Jeff. Well, I believe that is going to do it for us here watching Bloodlines. Would you like to know what next week's episode is called?
Yeah, let's hear it.
All right. It is called Fire and Water. Jeff, if you don't even want to bother taking a guess at what this could be, I wouldn't blame you because there's not a lot with that one. But go ahead so we can all laugh at you.
Let's have a question about, is there any music in this one?
No.
So it's not like a song?
Part of it. No.
I was going to say it's not a song of fire and water.
No. Sorry.
I have a hard time not going to Fire and Ice on this one. Yeah. I don't know. Fire and water, hot and cold, conflicting something. I can't even get specific. There's nothing to this one, right? Like,
anyway, that is going to do it for us, guys, this week on Stargate SG1 for the first time. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, share, all those sorts of things. And please, wherever you are, don't forget to leave us a rating, a review, drop a comment down below if that's what's going on. And make sure you let other people know about this show. Share it with somebody who loves Stargate SG1, or maybe somebody who just, like Jeff over there, needs to discover it and wants to discover it along with somebody else for the very first time. So with that, we are going to go ahead and get out of here for this week. Next week, Fire and Water and Jeff.
Listen, I know you're trying to wrap things up, but I want to let you know I really, really need to get going. I have young out there to teach of battle and of false gods.
Crying out loud, man. Just get out of here. Club 65, you guys rock. Sorry we don't have more to go for you. But Jeff and I got to get out of here. Talk to you later. Bye.
See ya.